Have you ever felt like eating something in the morning made you feel more hungry than if you had skipped breakfast? If so, this might lead you to believe that you should just always skip breakfast to prevent that mid-morning belly growling. But for a lot of people, skipping breakfast can just make them feel extra hungry later in the day and possibly lead to binge-type eating as their body tries to play catch-up. So it's like, what gives? In this video, I want to go over why you might feel hungrier after you eat breakfast. I'm going to share some tips on how to build a balanced breakfast, as well as some ideas on what you can eat if you're not hungry in the morning. Let's start by answering the question that brought you to this video. Why do I feel hungry after eating breakfast? There are a few possible explanations for why eating that meal in the morning makes you feel hungry either shortly after or more hungry the rest of the day. The first possible reason is that your breakfast contains naked carbohydrates only. This is just my way of saying that you ate carbs on their own without any other macronutrient with it, like proteins or fats. When we eat naked carbs on their own, our body uses them really quickly for energy, or they get stored for later use. Either way, eating these naked carbs can lead to a rapid spike in blood sugar followed by a pretty quick fall. And this rapid decrease in our blood sugar can leave us feeling extra hungry. And if that spike and fall happens pretty rapidly, it can lead to our hunger sort of coming on all of a sudden, out of the blue. When this happens, we might end up grabbing another naked carb because we're just so hungry that we'll eat whatever, and then the cycle just repeats itself. Now, it is totally normal for our blood sugar to go up and go down throughout the day. Those TikTok influencers who wear the glucose monitors on their arm and try to tell you that you should never have spikes are just trying to sell you something, most likely. Again, it's totally normal to have those spikes and falls. However, if we are always eating those naked carbs on their own, it could lead to that roller coaster of the rapid spikes and the rapid falls. But if we pair those naked carbs with a protein and or a fat, we'll have a much slower increase in blood sugar along with a much slower decrease. Our hunger will come on more gradually and we'll be able to make a more informed and mindful decision about our next meal or snack. Another possible reason why you feel hungry shortly after eating breakfast is your breakfast simply did not contain enough food. Diet culture has many of us believing that we should always be striving to eat as little as possible, but this almost always backfires. And if you've been under eating for a long time, you may be surprised at how much food your body actually needs. So if you eat breakfast and then you're hungry again in less than an hour, try eating a little more food at that meal and see if that makes a difference. The next possible reason why you feel hungrier when you eat breakfast is because you are used to suppressing your appetite with coffee. I have worked with so many people who tell me that they just aren't hungry in the morning, yet they always start their day with a cup of coffee on an empty stomach. And listen, I love my morning coffee as much as the next girl, but coffee can act as an appetite suppressant. So if you eat a breakfast that is very light with your coffee, or if you don't eat breakfast at all and just have the coffee, you may feel full, but then that hunger comes back with a vengeance later on. Now listen, I am definitely not saying that you have to get rid of your morning coffee. That would be cruel and unusual of me. What I am saying is that you might feel better and more regulated if you have your cup of joe with a solid breakfast rather than having it on an empty stomach. The next possible reason why eating breakfast makes you feel hungrier is your hunger hormones are just doing their thing. Ghrelin, which is a hunger hormone, tends to be at its lowest in the morning. So you may feel like you are not very hungry in the morning and your appetite starts to increase as the day goes on and your ghrelin levels are fluctuating. This is totally normal. And like I said, I'm gonna share some tips on what you can do if you don't feel very hungry in the morning, but know you would benefit from eating some breakfast. But first, my last reason for why you might feel hungrier after eating breakfast is it is just simply time to eat again. People tell me all the time, like, oh, I had breakfast at 7 a.m. and now it's 10:30 and I'm starving. Well, yeah, of course you are. If it's been a few hours since you last ate, it makes total sense that those hunger cues would be knocking on your door again. Whether you decide to eat a mid-morning snack or your lunch is totally up to you, but consider it a good thing that your body is communicating with you well enough to let you know when it needs fuel again. All right, if you've made it this far and you are now like, okay, yeah, it makes sense that I would feel hungry after eating breakfast, but I know that it is still going to be best for me to eat that breakfast so I don't overeat later. Let's talk about how to build a balanced breakfast. As I've already alluded to, eating a breakfast with protein, carbs, and fats is going to keep you the fullest and most satisfied for longest. Bonus points for adding some fiber in there too, which will also help with satiety and blood sugar stability. This is something that I call the blueprint for balanced meals, which I teach inside my membership, the Nutrition Reboot. This membership has all sorts of tools for implementing the blueprint, as well as tons of recipes with new ones being added each week. It is the place to be if you are looking to improve your health without doing all the weird diety stuff. No food rules, no measuring, no counting. I teach members how to eat using Gentle Nutrition. I'll leave a link in the description below if you want to learn more and become a member. But anyway, the whole goal is to get a protein, a carb, and a fat, and the beauty is you get to choose whichever ones you want. Some popular carbs you might like could be toast, oatmeal and grits, cereal or granola, a bagel, an English muffin, a tortilla, rice, maybe a breakfast bar like those Belvita breakfast bars. For protein, you could do eggs, Canadian bacon, cheese, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese. You could do nuts and seeds like almonds, cashews, chia seeds, and those will also give you some fats too. You can also add other fats like nut butters. The eggs and cheese will also give you some fats, and avocado is a great option as well. Another question I get a lot is, how long should I wait to eat breakfast in the morning? Should I eat breakfast right when I wake up? Should I wait for like an hour or two? What about fasting? Is it just best to eat 1 or 2 meals a day? The truth is, everybody has different preferences and meal timings that make them feel the best. I know that intermittent fasting is very popular right now, so if you do decide to fast, I just challenge you to ask yourself if that decision is actually making you feel good, or if it's a choice rooted in diet culture and disordered eating. Fasting and waiting a long time to eat at the beginning of the day can have possible consequences like binge type eating later. I mean, if you think about it, the time between dinner last night and then lunch or even dinner the next day is a long time to go without giving your body some fuel. Your body fasts while you're asleep at night, and that is plenty of time for most people. So there is no right time to wait or not wait to eat breakfast in the morning. See what makes your body feel the best. Try different things. And if you discover that you do feel better eating breakfast, but you don't really have much of an appetite in the morning, let's go over some tips on how to help with that. What do we do if we are not hungry in the morning? Like I mentioned, that hunger hormone ghrelin tends to be lower in the morning. So this may partially explain why you don't feel super hungry right when you wake up. Even if this is the case, I still do encourage trying to get something to eat. That way you can prevent feeling overly hungry later as your body is trying to compensate for not getting enough earlier in the day. This is a concept in intuitive eating known as practical nutrition or practical hunger. It's when we eat something even though we're not feeling very hungry to prevent feeling overly hungry in the future. All that said, it may not feel very good to eat a big old breakfast with all the fixins if your appetite is pretty low. So here are a few ideas to help you get something in your belly without making you feel worse. My first tip is to have a breakfast appetizer. We have dinner appetizers, so why can't we have breakfast appetizers? It may help to start with something small and gradually increase your intake as the day goes on and your appetite regulates. You can choose anything you'd like as a breakfast appetizer. I'll list off some of my favorites too. You could do peanut butter toast with chia seeds, a hard-boiled egg with some berries, a banana or apple with peanut butter, avocado toast with hemp heart seeds, leftovers from last night's dinner, or you could do a smoothie or a protein shake. And that leads me into my second tip, which is to drink your calories. That's right, it is a-okay to drink your calories. I know that diet culture has us believing otherwise, but drinking your calories can actually be a really helpful strategy when appetite is low. Try having a smoothie, for example. I recommend adding a protein source to your smoothie like Greek yogurt, chia seeds, maybe some protein powder. You could do a plain old protein shake if you like those, or even a protein coffee. I sometimes like to mix a protein shake with some espresso over ice for like a little protein latte. And my third and final tip on what to do if you don't feel hungry in the morning but you still want to eat breakfast is to keep in mind that you don't have to eat breakfast foods. If the thought of eating the stereotypical breakfast foods is giving you the ick and just decreasing your chances of eating breakfast, keep in mind that you can eat anything at breakfast. There's no rule that says you must eat certain types of food at certain times of day. One of my favorite foods to eat in the morning that isn't breakfast foods is leftovers. I love me some pizza in the morning, some Trader Joe's orange chicken, pasta, you name it. Sometimes I want a breakfast sandwich or some oatmeal, and other days I want some stir fry. And the beauty of food freedom is that I get to choose what's going to make me feel the best in the moment rather than relying on all these external food rules. So bottom line, is it normal for eating breakfast to make you feel more hungry? Yeah. It totally is. There are various reasons why eating breakfast may make you feel more hungry than if you had skipped, but this does not mean that you should give up on eating in the mornings. It may help to have a more balanced meal with more variety of macronutrients. It might help to increase the size of your breakfast or to plan to have a mid-morning snack. You may notice that including something in the morning will help prevent you feeling overly hungry later. What do you guys think? Do you find that eating breakfast does make you feel hungrier? If you try out any of these tips, let me know in the comments below. I cannot wait to hear how it goes for you. And while you're down there, make sure you like this video if you enjoyed it, and don't forget to subscribe so you always know when I'm posting new videos like this one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time.